The meeting to order. It is now 7 o'clock, and I'm calling the Novi Library meeting to order. Welcome, everyone, to our first in-person meeting at City Hall for over a year. I'll ask everyone to rise and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and I will ask Secretary Bartlett to please call the roll.
Trustee Chair Curry. Present. Trustee Crawford.
Here.
Trustee Dooley is absent. Trustee Mitchner.
Present, thank you.
Trustee Wood.
Present, Oakland County, Novi, Michigan.
We don't have to do that in person. Trustee Hugh.
Present.
Trustee Bartlett is present. We have 6 present, 1 absence.
Okay. On the consent agenda, we have the approval of the minutes of June 24th, the regular meeting, and I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of June 24th. Okay. I missed that altogether. Well, that's what I'm doing, right? Consent agenda. I've got a consent of the agenda. So we're going to approve the agenda. Are there any corrections or additions? That's why we have you here. That's good. Any corrections or additions to the agenda? Seeing none, the agenda, you want to call the roll for the agenda approval?
We have to have a motion.
All
Motion to approve the agenda.
Trustee Mitchner, are you making a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make one for discussion later, and that's your teaser,
Oh,
since you asked me early.
okay. Who wants to? All right. I'll move to approve the agenda. All right. Second? Is there a second?
Second.
And all right. And is there discussion? Okay. Now, Trustee Mitchner.
You got to fast forward on that one, right? Okay, so basically, I just wanted to make I don't want to make a motion for anything yet. I wanted to open up discussion for the board to discuss specifically the Bylaw Committee. We discovered, and Jeff, I promise I'm not stealing your thunder, but we did discuss that our Bylaw Committee is actually not in our bylaws. I do have some understanding of kind of what happened. We found that out at the meeting. Tom helped us out. And I said I would do some research because there were some questions that came up in regards to, do we want it to be ad hoc? Do we want it to be standing? So I'll give you kind of I made some notes for myself so I stay focused. just to bring everybody into it and to make sure it's here in the public and with all of you as board members. So in the course of the Bylaw Committee, on the 15th, we realized the committee is not a standing committee. I've done research into this and have some findings I think would be appropriate to share with the board at this point so we can decide as a board how best to address it and possibly add an item to the agenda under matters for board action, which is why I bring it up now. So basically, what happened was when the Bylaw Committee was brought into play, it was a review that was suggested back in 2016, specifically April 20th, 2016 by Director Farkas, because, she had mentioned being here 8 years and we had never opened up the bylaws before. So let's take a look at them. So there was an initial review that started April 20th, 2016. That's when we had assigned people to actually open up the bylaws. And that's when this committee, in quotes, came to play. So some things happened. The Bylaw Committee completed their initial review, actually September 21st, 2016, for board approval. Changes were approved, but the committee at that point was not dissolved. Our Bylaw Committee met again several more times, so September through October 2018, January 2019, March 2019, to make some minor updates, just little things. And then, of course, our Bylaw Committee then met again in October 2020, which many of you are familiar with, and then February 2021 to discuss major revisions, which are still in progress under our current committee, which, like I said, I'm sure Jeff will get into that stuff later. But based on this, I figured, since this is the part where we discuss if something's going to be a motion or not, we have a few options that we need to discuss. I did do some research, and we can't just have it standing out there and be nothing. So the three options that came about was either move it to make the Bylaw Committee a standing committee and allow it to continue on its current work, or to move to recognize the current Bylaw Committee as ad hoc. And I think that was something that actually was brought up at the meeting before we realized it wasn't already. And then, we could do that where it doesn't have to have a finite time, or we can move it to disband the Bylaw Committee after our current Bylaw Committee works on what we're working on currently. So I wanted to bring that up for discussion and for matters for board action, potentially. I don't lean any way. I know we're doing work. We've got lots of meetings coming up, and we already started. So we're going to still get our work done, whatever it is. But it's just, I wanted to bring that to everybody's attention so we can discuss.
Okay. Who wants to start? You want to talk about it? Chairman Wood, you want to talk about it?
I don't know if there's anything else to add. I mean, I did, well, do I have to do this? Oh,
Yes.
sorry. No, I think Trustee Mishner described it very well. I don't think there's anything to add. It is a situation we found, and, it's potentially something we could address tonight.
Okay. Well, it seems to me, honestly, I thought it was a standing committee of the board. I really did. I thought policy and bylaws both were standing committees. Is it the
Policy
same
is.
situation? A policy is?
Yep, it's just bylaws.
Not bylaws. Okay. Well, I'm certainly open to, if you want to add it as a motion in board matters to vote on, or do you want to? You have something to say? Okay. Go ahead. No, go ahead now.
Yeah, I was just curious, asking the current members, since I think your membership's identical to the policy committee, can the two be combined?
That's one thing I don't want to do personally. That's the one thing I wouldn't be in favor of. Everything else I would be okay with. But I do think it should either be standing, ad hoc, or just be for what it is right now and then dissolve. I don't want to add it to policy. I don't like the idea of combining it. Personally, that's my opinion, or my thoughts.
Tom? Yeah.
Madam Chair, I guess I was just going to say, if we're going to have kind of a substantive conversation, maybe the maker of the motion could, to approve the agenda, could amend the motion, his motion, add this one item, the Bylaws Committee, under matters for board action, and then the seconder approves, and then
Okay.
we can continue the discussion then.
Okay. You want to go ahead?
I could do that. So,
The maker of the motion could just say, through the chair.
Yep.
I mean, we don't need that much formality in this. The motion to approve could just be friendly, a friendly
Yeah.
amendment to add this agenda item, if that's okay.
sure,
Trustee Mitchell.
sure.
So, yeah, I'm open to amending my motion to approve, so to approve the agenda with addition of this item, discussing the bylaws committee.
That's good?
And then
Okay.
the
Oh, I'm
second.
sorry. Is he the maker? I thought I was, Is he the maker of the motion?
But he made the motion.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Oh, I
So,
see.
yeah, yeah.
I gotcha.
So,
Okay.
so yeah, I'd like to amend my initial motion. So make the motion to approve the agenda with the addition of a discussion of the Bylaws Committee.
Okay, is there a second?
Second. Or, yeah, I was seconder, yeah.
Okay, we have a second. Any further discussion?
I just had a quick clarification question. So at that time, if we decide to, well, we have to decide something. That's from my research, we have to do something. So at that point, we will have one matter for board action, which before we did not. I just want to clarify that, that's, okay.
Yep.
All
So
right, thank
that's
you.
added to the agenda. Okay. We're good?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Secretary, will you please call the roll? Sorry.
Trustee Crawford,
Yes.
trustee Dooley is absent, trustee Mitchner,
Yes.
trustee Wood. Yes. Trustee Yu,
Yes.
trustee Bartlett votes yes, trustee Chair Curry.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay. Now we're on the minutes. Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of June 24th, 2021. Do I see a motion? Member you, would you want to make that motion? To
Sure.
approve the minutes?
Sure.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
And we have a second?
Second.
Member Wood? All right, so we have a second. Is there discussion? No? Seeing none? You may call the roll.
Trustee Mitchner,
Yes.
trustee Wood,
Yes.
trustee Yu,
Yes.
trustee Bartlett votes yes, trustee Chair Curry,
Yes.
trustee Crawford.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay. Okay. All right, we're on item B, the June 26th board retreat. It was a meeting, an official meeting, and I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the June 26th board retreat.
I so move.
Member Chair Curry makes the motion. Member Bartlett? I'm sorry. What did I miss?
Can we make a motion that, because it's under the consent agenda? Are we going to vote on each one or the consent agenda as a whole?
Well, we can do either one, right? I mean, I just figured we'd go through each item.
Okay.
We might as well.
Okay,
Yeah, we are already started down that path, and I don't want to miss any time for you to call roll. Ever. Ever. Nice try. Yeah, go ahead and do it again.
well, we still need a motion then.
We had a motion, right?
Okay, move,
And we need a second.
Second.
Member
Second.
Wood is second. Okay, now you can call the roll.
trustee Wood,
Yes.
trustee Yu,
Yes.
trustee Bartlett votes yes, trustee Chair Curry,
Yes.
trustee Crawford,
Yes.
trustee Mitchner.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, and now as of the Open Meetings Act training, it was an official meeting, and I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the virtual Open Meetings Act training. Member you want to make that motion?
Sure. Motion to approve.
Okay, second, Member Chair Curry, how about you? I second. Any discussion? Seeing none, you may call the roll.
Trustee Yu,
Yes.
trustee Bartlett votes yes, trustee Chair Curry,
Yes.
trustee Crawford,
Yes.
trustee Mitchner,
Yes.
trustee Wood.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay. Well, we'll try to do the whole thing next time. We'll see how that goes. Okay. We're going to approve the claims and warrants of accounts 268 and 269, and I will entertain a motion to approve these accounts. Member Wood, you want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
All right.
So moved.
How about a second? Member Chair Curry?
Second.
Okay. Is there discussion? Any discussion? No? Seeing none, you may call the roll.
Trustee Bartlett votes yes, trustee Chair Curry,
Yes.
trustee Crawford,
Yes.
trustee Mitchner,
Yes.
trustee Wood,
Yes.
trustee Yu.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Great. Okay. We are so fortunate tonight. We're going to have some presentations, and they're going to be riveting. I just know this for a fact. So Dana Britannic is first, and she's going to tell us everything we wanted to know about marketing and demonstrations, and I don't know. It's all yours.
Okay. Let's get this. Okay, perfect. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Is this thing on? Okay, perfect. So, yes, so I'm Dana Britannic, Communications Coordinator at the library. Thank you so much for having me here tonight to talk about our new library website and something new that's coming called Patron Point. So I'll just get right into our website. So this is our old website. As many of you, I'm sure, know what it looked like before. And then I'll just go to our new website and homepage. So this was something that was planned, and a lot of planning had gone on for, gosh, probably since January 2020, or 2021, I should say, of when we started planning to get to this point. I worked with the city of Novi, their communications, community relations department with Cheryl Walsh and Nathan Mueller and Jeanette as well. And they were so wonderful to work with, and they really helped with brainstorming different ideas for the new website. We did a lot of research together. We met a lot, looking at different city and library websites and kind of pulling little bits and pieces from each of them to put into what is now our novilibrary.org site. So I just wanted to kind of point out some features of our new website. So just kind of from top to bottom, we have an updated navigation. So our previous website, we had everything categorized kind of by age. And our new navigation is by more of subject area or specific to what somebody would be looking for. So if they're wanting to just look up a program, it's going to be in the program and event section. All ages are in one area. If you're doing some research for school, go to Research and Learn. All of our services like Lakeshore Lending Library or accessibility, anything like that will be in services. And so that was a huge thing that we kind of had to go through everything, figure out where to put it all. And I did have a lot of help with the librarians as well. I definitely wanted their input because I know that they're kind of the front line when people are calling in and asking questions and stuff. I wanted to make sure that things were where they should be. Next is accessibility menu, which is brand new. So this is great because it has contrast changes, bigger text. You can change the spacing. There's a dyslexic friendly option on there as well. So this is a wonderful tool for anybody who might need some of those features to help navigate our site better. We have an important updates kind of homepage box. So anything that is kind of big news or anything we want to kind of draw people's attention to, we can put it right in that box. And they're all scrollable too. So they'll kind of go on their own as a carousel, but if you're on mobile, you can swipe. And then we have quick link buttons at the bottom, which go along with the page. So as you scroll, they'll kind of follow you. All of these quick links are ones that are the top visited pages on our website that we took from reports from our previous sites. So we just wanted to make sure that those sites that people are, or the pages that people are looking for right off the bat are just there and they can get access to them quickly. Going farther down the page, we have a new What's New section, which is a lot more visible. That was kind of a big push that we wanted to do for our new website, is to be able to kind of show off our pictures and different flyers and stuff that are made, because we know that people like to look at things and look at the colors and pictures and things. And so that was huge, is having a more visual section there. And they're all expandable too, so there's a lot more information if you click on each of them. And then, like I said, the quick links follow you down the page. And then farther down, we have our online calendar. So guests can go right here. They can look at all of the events that are coming up, and if they're full, they'll have a little notification there that says it's full. If they want to join the wait list, they can do it. If they want to register, they can do it right there on the homepage. And then we have video highlights too. So any of our story times we have coming out, or any of Gail's wonderful programs, we can put them on the homepage for people to enjoy and get access to. Then kind of just digging deeper into some of the main pages. We wanted to have some buttons on there, which are, again, the most highly visited pages in those sections. So you can just click right on those and get right to the page that you want. And then we have a What's Trending section, which, again, allows for more visual pictures and highlights of the different programs and services that are new to those certain sections. And then another big feature was getting our calendar embedded onto each of our page for youth and adult, book discussion groups, technology programs. This was something big because before it was a lot of work to transfer. I'd have to kind of compile all the programs for the next couple months, send them onto our website provider, and they would upload them. Sometimes there was maybe errors if a librarian had to cancel something and I didn't realize, the information wasn't always up to date. So this way, when the librarians put in their information, if they make changes, everything is 100% up to date on this page for guests to see. And then, of course, mobile friendly. I'm not sure of the percentage of how many guests visit our website or on mobile, but I know it's huge. So our website provider, MuniWeb, made sure to make sure that every page was mobile friendly. A lot of options are, swipeable like you would on different websites and things like that. And then again, those quick links stay at the bottom. So that is our new website. We've gotten feedback from staff and from the public, and like any new kind of technology, there's going to be some blips along the way. So working through them and thanking the community so much for their patience as we work through those little blips. Just trying to make sure that the website is working as best as it can be for them. And the next is Patron Point, which is coming up. We don't have it unveiled quite just yet, but we were able to starting in this current fiscal year, which is very exciting. So Patron Point is a fully automated email marketing system, and it integrates all of our library card holders. So now we have access to over 20,000 card holders with valid email addresses, and so that doesn't take into account all the card holders without emails. But this allows us to connect to all of those people. And some of the ways that we'll utilize Patron Point is with a welcome campaign, so which I'll talk about in a little bit, library card renewal campaigns, program promotion, urgent library updates, monthly e-newsletters, targeted emails depending on maybe what page somebody's looking on, and then online library card sign up, which is huge. And I know that a lot of people have been hoping that we would get to at some point, so that's exciting. So one of the things we'll be unveiling hopefully at the beginning of August is a welcome campaign. So any new library card holders, they'll get an email. It'll be a series that'll come to them over the course of a week. And so the first one we have kind of slated to be a letter from the director. So a nice little letter just welcoming them to the library. We hope you utilize our services, come and see us, go to Lakeshore Lending Library and check that out. The next email will be using your new library card, so all of the information about renewing items, how to do our self-checkout machine, how to get the barcode on your phone so you always have your library card in your pocket. So all those like tips and tricks for, that somebody who has a new library card might not know. And then another welcome email we're planning is some of our e-library resources. So just introducing them to Hoopla and Overdrive and all those good things that they might not realize that they get with their library card. And this allows them to reach them right from the beginning, right from the start of their journey in our library. And then we're also going to have a library card renewal email campaign that goes out. So it'll remind them kind of in a 2-month period, like, hey, your library card's coming up, you might want to renew it. And then they can do it right from that email. It'll give them some options, or it'll just tell them, in 7 days, it's coming up due, you might want to do it. After it's expired, it'll say, hey, you're expired, you're going to miss out on all these great services, you might want to renew. And then up to 30 days, we're trying to reach them and just let them know and remind them that we're here and we can renew their card for them. And then some coming soon items as well. And this is by no means definitely the complete list. I had a meeting today with our head of support services, Marianne, and the list is just so long of the things that we can use Patron Point for. So program promotion is a big one. So any maybe programs that we have coming up that are big, we can blast it out to all 20,000 card holders and try and get people to sign up or attend. Any of those urgent library updates, if we have to close for any emergency reasons, instead of kind of using our constant contact email system, which only reaches about 2,500 people. So it's gonna be huge in between Patron Point and Constant Contact. And then in the future, migrating our email or monthly e-newsletters over to Patron Point instead of Constant Contact. Doing some targeted emails so people can sign up like, oh, I'm interested in getting info about programs for youth, or I'm interested in like an upcoming author event, or any future ones that you might have coming up. We can do that too. And then library card sign up as well. So a lot of exciting things happening with our marketing communications at the library. I'm so happy to be a part of both of these big projects, and I'm definitely looking forward to working with Marianne and all the library to get these out to the community so we can start reaching them and making sure that they know that we're here for them. So thank you so much.
Well, thanks, Dana. That's exciting, I think. All this new technology and all the things the possibilities for the future. I mean, I think this Patron Point sounds really awesome. How soon do you think that's going to happen?
Yeah, so we're hoping for the welcome campaign to start on August 1st. And then after that, we'll just kind of be unrolling certain aspects of it over the course, like, I'm trying to think maybe once a month we'll add in a new feature, just because it takes a lot of work to kind of put the campaigns together, figure out who we want to target, and all of that kind of stuff. So it'll be kind of a gradual thing over the course of some months, but when it's kind of nearing I don't think it actually will ever near its end, I want to say, because there are so many different features and things that we can do with it. So I think it's just going to be adding bit by bit over time.
So when you're going to announce a program, for example, would you put the flyer out there first and then
Yeah, we could do that.
explain how
or-
they're going to
yeah,
sign up?
Exactly,
or
all the
whatever?
information about it, who's going to be there, what it's about, how they can register. It'll be a button directly to the calendar, so they can register
Wow,
right there.
that's awesome. That's really great.
Very exciting.
Trustees, anybody else have comments? Yes?
Thank you so much. Yeah, it looks great. I may have missed it, but I see the big picture of the cafe. Is that going to be incorporated as well?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We'll have, there is going to be another email too called In the Library.
Okay.
So we have a feature for like art in the library, the cafe, eventually meeting room rentals when we start doing that again. Come by, the fireplace and enjoy a magazine. So things like that to get them, to realize all the stuff that's in the different areas of the library.
Thank you.
Wow. Anyone else? Comments? Questions? Yes, Victoria?
So just a quick comment. So I know patrons was part of our last budget, back in January. One of the biggest draws for me and why I was so excited about Patron Point is, all those emails that we get, that they're tailored to our needs and our interests. We are all inundated with so many emails daily about random stuff that we may not be interested in, so this is great to have that. And I'm also really excited about the sign up for library cards online. We're doing them as well.
Yeah, big accessibility thing, because we can reach so many more people if they can't get to the library maybe. They can just sign up right online.
Very good. Yes,
President
Director
Crawford, I just
Farkas.
want to take a moment to thank Dana because she was the lead on this for both projects, along with Marianne Zermulin. But also, we have a web team that worked with Dana as well. And our marketing committee, I want to thank also for participating. With the website specifically, the committee did meet and talked about and was able to get a link from Dana in advance. And so they offered options, questions, thoughts when they first saw it, and there were things that we were able to address right away and things that we will continue to work on. So she's been wonderful in terms of spearheading everything and then keeping everybody in line and in terms of moving us forward. So thank you for that as well, and for the other groups that participated.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none. Thanks, Dana. And now we have our special report coming up from Tarun Tanchirala. I'm sorry if I did not pronounce your name correctly. Am I close? Am I even close?
You got the first name, it's Tangirala.
Really?
Yeah, you're really close on the last name also.
Oh, good, okay. All right then. Yay me. All right.
So I'm here to be hearing a lot from me today because my partner's not here, so if you get bored, I don't mind.
It's all you.
This is the 2020-2021 end-of-year presentation by myself and my partner who's not present today, Sarah Chang. This is the student representative's report. So for the summer 2021-2020 programs, we had the Witches and the Wizards Potion and Magic Long Way Planetarium, the Fossils, Footprints, and Fun with Pally Joe program. And these are programs that we included in this presentation because we saw the highest attendance for these programs. And due to the pandemic, NPL had held virtual programming and offered grab-and-go kits from July 2020 to July 2021. To June 2021, sorry. The additional summer 2020 programs, we have the Story is Important writing workshop with Supriya Kelkar, and the STEM Building Challenge, Three Little Pigs. And the July and August Teen Stop display features young adult fiction set in the summer and summer-related covers. So this was a huge success throughout the pandemic, especially because this was programs that offered accessibility to what we offered at the library, right? So the summer fall of 2020 grab-and-go kits. We had the Shrink Dink jewelry keychain craft, the Mandela painting, Chalk It Up, nonpartisan felt vote patch, make frame hanging planters, seasonal decals, seasonal ornaments, decals. And these were also And you can see the numbers on this attendance. These are very high attendance for programs in the library. And again, it's because of the accessibility that these programs offered. So the fall 2020 programs, we had the Share a Story with a Local Author AKID, the ACT Practice Test, it was actually a 2-time program, and the Between the Pages Tween Book Club Trivia. And on the picture you see here is the Banned Books Week Teen Stop display, which was recognized from September 27th to October 3rd. Some more fall 2020 Teen Stop displays. To the left is the October Teen Stop display featuring young adult fiction, mysteries, and thrillers. To the right is the November and December Teen Stop display featured young adult historical fiction books set during war times. For the winter 2021 Teen Stop displays, we have on the left is the January Teen Stop display featuring the best young adult fiction books of 2020. To the right is the in honor of Black History Month, the February Teen Stop display featured young adult fiction books written by African American authors. And starting, you can see the winter 2021 programs. We have the Robo Rhinos Novi Middle School Robotics Team Demo on January 6th. On January 11th, we had the Bullet Journaling Starter Kit. January 25th, we had the Sublimation Printed Puzzle. February 8th, we had the DIY gift bags. March 8th, we had the Mini Embroidery Hoop Pendants. March 13th, guests used the program name is on there, but the guests used various supplies to create their own water bead stress balls. That's another grab and go program. On April 12th, we have the Seashell Wind Chimes. May 3rd, watercolor floral pop-up card. And May 17th was the Crystal Ball T-Bombs. So for spring, summer 2021 program and displays, this program right here on April 27th was the mental health discussion, Talking Teen Stress. And actually we had an email from Trustee Chair Khoury to myself and Sarah asking why was this such a why did this program have such a high attendance? And we got in contact with Ms. Gail Anderson, and she explained that this was actually an adult program and that offered a teen audience, so both numbers were calculated into this attendance. On to the left, we had, to the left of the display, to the left is one of the displays in collaboration with the Novi High School student who displayed their eating disorder awareness project and recognition of the National Nutrition Month. The March Teen Stop display featured young adult fiction, body positivity, and image books. To the right, to the right is the to organize National Poetry Month. The April Teen Stop display featured young adult fiction novels in verse. So some more summer Teen Stop displays. To the left is the May Teen Stop display recognizing Asian Pacific American Heritage Month with young adult fictional titles. And to the right is the Teen Stop display featuring young adult fiction and graphic novels in recognition of LGBTQ+ Pride Month in June. So My Library Request. My Library Request is a group of library staff who work together to create innovative and fun competitive quests for the teens in Michigan in collaboration with the Library of Michigan and statewide public libraries. Participation in these quests is open to all teens in Michigan as well as all public libraries. Registration is free, but required for participation for both by individual libraries and teens. Teens visit various library websites to collect clues for a chance to win prizes from their home libraries. NPL participated in 3 quests: Summer 2020, Winter 2021, and Summer 2021. So the program's overview. This is what Sarah and I concluded with all these reports that we've been making the past month. So out of all the teen programs the library hosted in 2020-2021, we recognize that the programs with the highest teen attendance were the programs that involved hands-on activities, such as those various grab-and-go kits. And due to the pandemic, the grab-and-go kits were very popular because guests could pick up materials at the library and then complete the activities on their own time. Additionally, the mental health discussion was also well attended, which reflects the stress that teens are experiencing as a result from the pandemic and how their lives have changed. So for the TAB update. TAB meetings took place each month from September through May, concurrent with the school year. All meetings were conducted virtually via Zoom. The 2021-2022 TAB officers were elected during the May meeting. And a few goals set from last year that were accomplished included being involved with at least one community service project or outreach opportunity, discussion amongst TAB members to find out what team programs are wanted at the library, and maintain active TAB members. Some 2021, 2022 tab goals. We have be involved in outreach programs and community service projects in the community, continue to increase active tab members from various high schools, share tab information with local high school and teen organizations, and promote tab through social media and other forms of communication that reach teens. And that concludes our annual presentation.
Wow, thank you. I can't believe how much you've done and how much you've accomplished. I have a question about, was it the board, the teen board, were they the ones that decided like what kits you were going to do for the grab and go? Or was it you and Sarah that decided this, or?
So that's all done by the programs coordinator, Ms. Gail Anderson. So those are all details we can find from her about, but the tab does not handle anything with the grab and go kits, no. Teen Advisory Board.
And just to add, our teen librarian, Lindsay Gochai, actually will also spearhead a number of those events and those topics as well. And she's the direct contact with our teen advisory board
Yeah,
and with the students.
Yeah, she's the sponsor for us at the
Great,
teen.
wow.
And-
Well, does anyone else have any comments or questions for Tarun? Okay,
Just-
Member Mitchner?
Thank you so much. Just a little encouragement. The grab and go kits were very popular. I never got to get one. But I think that's because they were so great. And I just want to encourage you all that you did a fantastic job in a very hard time.
Absolutely, yeah, it was a huge success during the pandemic especially. I actually have one more report to you guys for the June 2021, if you guys are willing to hear it.
Yes.
We are, Tarun, we are.
So for the tween and teen library programs, we have the SAT and ACT test strategies, how to help your teen succeed, which was held on June 2nd and June 29th by Mark J. Mabry, who is the founder of Exam Experts and principal of Hope Academy in Detroit. He presented a review of the SAT and ACT test, scores needed to get on scholarships, and test-taking strategies. There was also time for a Q&A session at the end of the program. The attendance for the first one was 12, and the attendance for the second one was 23 people. The Between the Pages Tween Book Club Trivia was held on June 16th. Guests read Miss Frisbee and Rats of NIMH by Robert O'Brien and answered trivia questions relating to the book. The attendance was 5 people for this program. The Sticky Fingers virtual cooking class, which was the African-American inspired cuisine, was held on June 30th. Guests were inspired to cook healthy recipes in honor of Juneteenth, taught by SFC's engaging and highly talented chef instructor. The cooking class combined nutritional information, safe cooking skills, hygiene, and food, history, and culture. The recipes and the list of ingredients were supplied to guests ahead of time. The attendance for this program was 7 people. For the teen space update, per the executive order, there was no teen space, which has been the same as the past 1 year. And teen advisory board, it was no teen advisory board in June, but it will resume again on September 24th. Some upcoming programs in August are the NPL International Summer Games, which is on August 3rd and 4th. Sticky Fingers Virtual Cooking Class, Harry Potter Inspired Cuisine on August 10th. Doug Shear's Adventures in Reading, August 12th, which was rescheduled from June 24th due to inclement weather. IQ Teen, Tween, and Adult Grab and Go Kit Painted Glass Teapot, August 16th. Trustee Missionary, maybe you can grab the Grab and Go Kit for that one. Sign up ahead of time. Between the Pages Tween Book Club Trivia on August 18th, and Summer Reading Finale at Paradise Park, August 24th and August 26th. And that concludes my last presentation for the Novi Library.
Yay.
Well,
been such an honor
I think you
serving.
deserve a lot of credit, yes, sir. So please pass along our, our appreciation to Sarah as well when you see her
And I just want to say
again.
a huge thank you to Director Farkas and Ms. Gochai for encouraging us and giving us all these opportunities to actually volunteer and serve our community. It's been
Well,
such an
I
honor.
feel like you're going to be around and, and we'll see you around for sure.
Absolutely,
You know,
yeah,
you've
you
been
can't get
so
rid of me
active.
yet. No.
We won't even try. Was it, member, did you have a question or a comment?
Yeah, so a comment and a question. So awesome job with this past year with all the programs. Back when I was a student rep, we would love to have these numbers that you had this year with the program attendance. So awesome job with that. This is a question maybe for Director Farkas, but do we intend to bring teen space back in the fall?
That's a great question, and yes, we do.
Okay.
So I've been working with our team already. The high school's changing their hours a little bit, so the high school will have a later start. We are already aware of that, and so we're moving forward to get that started probably the end of September. We always like to give the students a few weeks to get back into school before we market it, just because we know they've got a lot on their minds
Right.
with just getting back. But yes, our intentions are to be back and open as we were in 2020, or 19, actually, it was 19, in 2019. Because it closed, I mean, in 20, you know, we had it for just a couple months,
Right.
so, yeah.
All right.
So yes, we are.
All right,
Great
awesome.
question.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Tarun, thank you so much. It's been an honor working with you.
And Ms. Farkas, same likewise.
Yes. Great. You know where to find me.
Today's orthodontics, right?
I have a feeling when he sits down, he's gonna think of something else he might want to
It's
say.
okay.
Yeah, that's okay,
I already
too.
told him I would write him a glowing recommendation for college, so I
That's
know
right.
he'll come find me.
That's right. Thank you once
Yeah,
again.
no, thank
We
you guys.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you. All the board members, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Director Farkas, I believe you have some
I am going to go to the
recognition.
podium. Thank you. This is my favorite time of the year, always July, when I have a chance to come to all of you as a Board of Trustees and share information about award winners. We're recognizing some great staff from the 2021 year. And not everyone, unfortunately, was able to join us tonight just because it is summer and I know a few staff are on vacation. A few of them are actually presenting programs tonight, so they're busy in the community. And we had someone on medical leave as well. But I'm going to start with the first award, and that's our Above and Beyond Award for 2021. This award recognizes a staff member by the library's management team who has been seen going above and beyond in their attempt to reach their annual goals or has made a significant impact on a library service, collection, or program for MPL that truly meets our motto of inform, inspire, and include. And we have 4 members of our library team that were recognized for this award. Eva Sobolchek is our support services supervisor, and she's not able to join us tonight, but I'm going to share some information about Eva that colleagues wrote about her. Both this year and last year, Eva has done a tremendous job bringing the Lakeshore Lending Library project to launch. Between leading the committee meetings, acting as a liaison, interacting regularly with the vendor and staff members, as well as communicating back to the staff in a timely manner and still maintaining her supervisory duties, she has never faltered to doing a fabulous job. She communicated well and set deadlines. The Lakeshore Lending Library would not be a reality without her. In addition, she brought excitement, dedication, and amazing attention to detail, all while keeping herself calm in some pretty unsettling situations when keeping on track with the schedule, which changed often, and we all know that COVID and the construction deadlines changed a lot. So her leadership on this project was exceptional, and I just want to thank Eva for all of her time and for her dedication. The next 3 individuals are my management team, and they're not here. I know April was going to try, if she could leave the program, she was going to try and be here tonight. But I have 3 managers that work very closely with me. They are part of my management team. Barbara Kowski, who is the head of information technology, April Stevenson, head of information services, and Marianne Zermulin, the head of support services. Without an exceptional leadership team, our organization cannot run effectively and efficiently, and this group of leaders, I call them my go-to team, really showed amazing dedication this year. They were still working through COVID with their teams and me, making the best decisions for how to open the library effectively, efficiently, and safely, taking both the guests and our staff into consideration with each decision made. Mary Ann and her team led the Lakeshore Lending Library and taking the words barrier-free to heart with getting library cards in hand in new ways with the various card campaigns that occurred this past year. April and her team worked on a new diversity audit and focused heavily on engaging our guests both virtually and soon in person as the spring rolled around in 2021 and it arrived, as well as being the conduit to our community and asking, how are you and how can we help? Our organization cannot run without technology. And behind every system in our building and now at Lakeshore is a person who has to know where to connect the cables, install the software, and turn the button to on, and that is Barb. So all three of those women, I'd like to thank. I know I'm virtually doing this, but thank them, and I will in person. All these managers engaged their staff this year in DEI efforts, webinars, training, book discussions, and one-on-one interactions to begin to learn more and keeping the focus of improving MPL at the forefront. No matter what was thrown at this team, COVID, heating issues, storms, technology and connectivity issues, and staff shortages, this team prevailed, and always with positivity and definitely some laughter at times to get us through. I am forever grateful for their dedication to Novi Public Library. Our next award is the Customer Service Award for 2021. And this award recognizes a staff person that has provided the most consistent and most positive customer service to our MPL guests or staff members over the past year. This person always greets guests with a smile. This person goes above and beyond to assist a guest or fellow MPL employee. And this person is calm in chaotic situations. Nominations for this award are received by the full staff. And we have a number of those people here tonight. So the first one I'm going to recognize is Dana Britannic. So Dana, stand up here so you can hear all these one glowing things. And these are written by colleagues that work with Dana. I could actually echo them too. Dana has brought great energy to the library through bright, colorful, and vibrant flyers, displays, and promotion of our programs and resources. Dana is always willing to lend a hand and is often the first to greet employees and guests with a smile. Dana is positive, creative, friendly, and very easy to work with. She is prompt when responding to emails, and she goes above and beyond what I ask of her, doing an extra favor for me without even needing to be asked. I can trust her with my work and projects to get the job done. She must have a lot on her plate, this colleague wrote, but she never seems stressed and remains positive. Even in her emails, she is cheerful, and her positive, helpful energy is infectious. Congratulations. Thank you. Our next one is Katie Edmondson, and she's not here tonight, but I'm going to read about Katie. She's one of our librarians with Information Services, and this colleague wrote, Katie is a stellar example of customer service, especially this year, both internally and externally. During our time of virtual programming, Katie has been the go-to partner for her peers. To the delight of many Masterpiece program fans, she goes above and beyond to create wonderful kits and share her artistic talents. For her colleagues, she created printing instructions so staff could use it as a refresher when we opened public printing. She consistently receives glowing comments from guests. One colleague said, she is by far the most positive, optimistic, and caring individual I know. In addition, she helped ease staff minds when they were very nervous about the new procedures that were implemented when first opening up the library during COVID. Katie stepped in to help explain and demonstrate many new procedures. So I thank Katie for her diligence and for her also hard work this year. Next is Lisa Brinkman. Come on up here, Lisa. Lisa is with our Support Services Department, and she's one of our shelvers. She's been with us a number of years. 5 years. Yes. So Lisa brings a quiet but welcoming attitude to her interactions with guests. She consistently goes out of her way to help guests find what they are looking for or needing. She also displays great customer service internally to her fellow coworkers, as well as is genuinely caring about learning more about her fellow staff members and engaging them in great conversations about their personal lives, which I know you and I do too, once in a while. So it's a pleasure to recognize Lisa Brinkman. Thank you so much. Next is Mary Robinson. Come on up here, Mary. And a colleague writes, Mary has gone above and beyond in the last year in her interactions, but specifically with the iCube. The iCube is a huge customer service opportunity at MPL, and Mary serves every guest and staff member in the space with patience, understanding, dedication, and skill. She has masterminded almost all of our adult grab-and-go kits. She is the force behind. She is an endless fountain of program ideas that keeps our guests coming back for more and more. There has been an increasing demand for digital resources, Hoopla and Overdrive, and Mary is always ready to drop everything and assist guests. She has a consistent positive attitude, readiness to serve, and patient demeanor with our guests and technology that goes a long way. Congratulations, Mary. Thank you. Those are our Customer Service Award winners for this year. And now I have two colleagues that I'm going to recognize, and this is a new award this year. It's called the Community Champion Award. And this award recognizes a staff person that has put themselves out in the Novi community and has worked with a resident, a Novi group, a Novi business to champion library services and build library connections with NPL. How was the relationship formed is what we wanted to know, and what impact was made for NPL with the resident group business connection with the staff person. And these were nominations received also from the full staff. So there are two people that I'm going to recognize tonight. My first is Gail Anderson, and she is at a program tonight. She's at Paradise Park this evening, introducing some great music. So Gail Anderson is our programming coordinator with Information Services, and here's what her colleagues wrote about her. Gail has done an outstanding job this year with programming that truly embodies our diversity, equity, and inclusion principles. Not only did she have to contend with Zoom, Facebook Live ways of doing programming, but bringing people together in the digital arena. Her topics were diverse, educational, and entertaining. Her programs continue to be well attended and highly spoken about. One of Gail's goals this year was to continue to be one of Gail's goals this year was to increase cultural awareness, acknowledgement, and visibility through virtual and on-site library programming. This was done above and beyond, and significant impact was made in our community. New programs introduced to Novi this year were Talking Racism series, Women's History Month program, Chinese New Year celebration, two-part series on the rise in Asian hate crimes, and she hosted the Indian American Cultural Dialogue and a firsthand account of the Cambodian genocide. Then there was the continuation of the MLK Unity celebration, and it was virtual this year. It was just as meaningful, very meaningful actually, and engaging. And many members of our Novi community this year participated, which I thought was awesome. And that was due to Gail and her direction and her reaching out and trying to coordinate many people and many faces and many cultures from Novi. Her programs always include top professionals in their field. Many times she manages to do her programming with minimal funding, and she continues to live NPL's motto of inform, inspire, and include. So thank you, Gail, and congratulations to you as well. And lastly, I'd like to bring up Hillary Henschel. And this is what colleagues wrote about Hillary. Hillary put herself out in the community virtually this year through establishing a holiday expo and a spring virtual shopping expo. Although it was a little spiritual, wasn't it? We all loved it. This entailed a partnership with the Novi Chamber of Commerce and many local small businesses, which allowed those businesses to learn more about NPL's Business Resource Center and available resources. Hillary navigated all of the pieces of these events with professionalism and ingenuity. Both events offered vendor coaching calls to ensure the businesses were received well by the audience that was viewing. In addition to the value back to the community, Hillary also raised some dollars to support future programming efforts. Hillary coordinated social media for the events, managed the virtual world for hosting the events, engaged a corporate sponsor, and the biggest highlight was the championing of library services to build connections with our local businesses. She also regularly is a face for the Novi Chamber of Commerce and the ABWA, which is the American Business Women's Association Novi chapter, and she's involved with those two as well. Congratulations, and thank you, Hillary. So I know that not everyone is here tonight. What we do annually with these winners to celebrate them is we plan a dinner. And so President Crawford and I will be entertaining these wonderful people.
will?
Middle of August, and you're
I
always,
thought we were just having
you're
dinner.
always entertaining. We will be entertaining. We will be entertaining them for dinner right here in Novi at one of our local restaurants. This is sponsored by the Friends of the Novi Library, so it's not out of our general fund. I always like to say that. The Friends support it, which we truly appreciate, and that is how we'll celebrate. We also have a plaque that will be made and hung at the library recognizing these employees for this year. So thank you all for attending tonight, and thank you for always being fabulous.
Well, certainly the library staff, and I think the award winners in particular are unsung heroes and the backbone of our library. I mean, where would we be if we didn't have all of you greeting the public and all the things that you do? So we appreciate all that you do. Anyone else have any comments? No?
I'll just quickly, thank you
okay.
so much.
Trustee Mishner?
I get to encounter a lot of you, and you're all so smiley and so helpful, and even when I'm like in a million different places, you always say hi. Those are you that I see right here. I just, I'm extra happy for you, so congratulations.
Okay. All right, thank you once again. And we won't say anything if you need to get back or get home or go do your programs. I mean, I know you're already starting to think, should we leave or should we sit here? What do we have to do? You know, I've been there, you know, at city council meetings, and I've sat out there. So we excuse you. Do not worry. You're excused if you don't want to sit through this meeting. Despite it'll really be interesting, but you don't have to stay. So thanks again, all of you. So moving on to the president's report. A few weeks ago, I prepared a draft of topics that were, what did I do?
Public comment.
Oh, duh, I have it right in front of you too. Thanks, you know, it's a test for you to make sure you're all paying attention. You know, I'm just trying to make sure. So, public comment, I'm sorry. So in order to hear all citizen comments at a reasonable hour, the library board requests that speakers request the 3-minute time limit. This is not a question and answer session. However, it is an opportunity to voice your thoughts with the library board. Remarks should be limited to those pertaining to board or board business or policy or to issues of community concern or interest. While comment upon the action, inaction, or performance of the board, the trustees, employees, and consultants is allowed, inappropriate, profane, vulgar, or abusive language and personal attacks will not be tolerated. Citizens are asked to state their first, last name and their address. So is there anyone that wishes to come forward? Okay, please come forward to the podium.
Good evening. Do I need to turn on the microphone or anything? Is it working? Okay, good. I'm kind of loud
If you could
anyways,
move a
so-
little closer to the mic. So
This one? Okay.
Yeah, that's better.
I'm like,
Thank
that
you.
one's got a light, so, all right.
You want to
Thank
say
you.
your name again, please?
Yes. Betsy Bodwine, and I live on Cranbrook in Novi. Thank you all for hosting this meeting this evening and for all of your work. I wanted to get up here and make a comment because I got an email earlier this week that the DEI response meeting had been canceled. This happened with 1 day notice, and as we know, there have been a lot of issues with public trust in regards to the board and specifically that committee, and having that cancellation happen so abruptly furthers those issues. I attended the initial listening session, and we were told that there would be the response meeting on the 20th. It's disappointing that instead of hosting that session as promised, the responses have been put out in writing to only the people who have managed to rearrange their schedule to be here this evening. There were many more people at the listening session than that were able to attend this evening. So we've got already a bunch of people who put that time in trying to communicate that, who are not going to even get any kind of a response. Additionally, as I read over that document, I see the statement from Trustee Mishner that this cancellation was done without the agreement or approval from the committee. The document states that this meeting was canceled by Trustee Charakuri, am I saying your name correctly? Okay, I'm so sorry. And President Crawford. This cancellation makes the entire listening session seem performative and insincere. The excuse for canceling the response session was to allow all members to respond. As I read through this, it appears that only a few of you have responded. President Crawford Trustees Mishner and Julie, as well as one comment from Trustee Bartlett, are the only ones that I saw. So thank you, all of you who took the time to respond. It is disappointing that there is nothing from our committee chair, and I am once again curious why someone with no interest in this work would want to be on that committee as well as to be the chair. The sudden cancellation and lack of a response from the committee chair has me once again questioning his commitment to building trust with the community. It's a great concern that the DEI committee does not appear to be fully committed to making our library an inclusive and equitable space for us all. So I would really like to see the whole board respond, as was promised, or to have that listening session response actually occur, because putting out this thing in writing seems unnecessary to me when the whole point was for it to be an interactive session. Additionally, if this was something that was like a sincere effort and the best you could do is to do the written responses, I would have expected to have gotten that in my email since I had signed up for that listening session. So it just seems like it could have been handled a lot better. And I'd really love to see the committee and the board as a whole work harder at community trust. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing no one else come forward, then moving on with my report. It's time now, right? President's report, I'm good? Okay, thank you. Well, I'm a little discombobulated. My husband's in the hospital, so I didn't even go visit him before I came here tonight, so that's one of the reasons why I'm a little confused today. So a few weeks ago, I prepared a draft of topics that were mentioned frequently in the listening sessions as well as audience participation. I asked board members if they wish to add other topics. I sent members my draft responses and asked if they had anything to add. Copies of the board response to the listening sessions are available tonight, and if any board members wish to add anything, they certainly can make revisions within the next month, and the final version will be included in the August board packet. And at that time, there'll still be time for audience members to come and speak to the issue, certainly if they wish to talk about, what they read in the comments. I'm sorry that I missed a couple of the comments that Trustee Bartlett mentioned, but they'll be in the final copy in the next edition. So you will not notice comments from every board member on every topic, but that's because they concurred with the draft that they were sent. And as much as this is a rather lengthy document, I'm not going to read it, but we'll just mention a few things briefly. Probably the most frequently mentioned issue in the listening sessions and public comments was related to Juneteenth. If you saw last month's board meeting or looked at the board minutes, you will have noted that I said that since President Biden made Juneteenth a federal holiday, I wanted the Finance Committee to take a look again at our budget to see about the possibility of funding the closure and making it a holiday with pay. In addition, I asked them to bring forward the recommendation at the July board tonight. So the Finance Committee did meet, and they discussed a variety of solutions. They cannot make a recommendation this evening because the issue is impacted by the lost revenue of the unanticipated emergency that we've had at the library with the big hit that we had in our budget, which was incurred by the storm power outage of 6/24 that affected all of our technology hardware. And in addition, that we're still studying the fine-free issue and the loss of revenue there. An insurance claim has been filed regarding the storm damage, and we cannot get back up to 100% usage until our emergency order of equipment arrives. It's expected that the cost of the damage will exceed $100,000, and our deductible is $10,000. So until the Finance Committee has received all the necessary equipment and paid all of the bills related to this emergency, they're not really in a position to evaluate additional expense to the budget. It was my decision, along with the DEI Chair, Chiricuri, to cancel the July 20th reflection session, where it was anticipated that board members would attend and respond to the various issues brought forward. The date of July 20th was established by the previous DEI committee last year and was somewhat a surprise to the 3 new board members and the new DEI committee. When we new members heard of this date, we were in the midst of board training, update meetings with Director Farkas, as well as our efforts to discover all that has taken place with DEI since it was established. I heard from several members that they would not be available on July 20th, and since most of the topics required a board response, it would not be appropriate for the current DEI committee to answer for the full board. I suspect many may feel that the library board has moved too slowly to address the racial issues expressed in the listening sessions. But if you look through the timeline and of all that has taken place since June 25th of last year, when the board first established a new ad hoc equity and inclusion committee, I don't know of any library in the region, and maybe even in the state, that has done more in a year than this library's DEI committee. It wasn't until September of 2020 board meeting that the Equity and Inclusion Committee became a standing committee of the board and renamed the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, with Trustee Michener appointed as chair and Trustees Wood and I believe Trustee Dooley were also appointed to the new committee. So it hasn't even been a full year yet, and look at all that has been accomplished, along with a pandemic and closures, boiler issues, staffing shortages, power outages. Truly, I think it's been an amazing progress, or I think amazing progress has been made, due in large part to the passion, dedication, and ingenuity of Trustee Michener, the DEI committee members, library staff, and community members who have spoken up. Congratulations to all of you who have taken part over the past year and have worked so hard to bring and create dynamic programs, research, and audit our collections, and those brave enough to take part in difficult conversations. I'm confident that this board and staff are going to work diligently to build on the great diversity, equity, and inclusion foundation that you have already begun. This is a beginning, not an end. The other thing I wanted to mention is that the library board retreat and reflection from Dr. Lee Meadow. You know, we were blessed, really, to have Dr. Lee Meadow as our facilitator for strategic planning, and he had some great suggestions, and many of them related to DEI. His letter is included in your packet. Dr. Meadows' suggestions have already been a topic of discussion for strategic planning and the finance committees. Both of those committees really interface. As you already know, our future plans are directly linked to the budget. Strategic Planning Chair Bartlett asked that each of you on the board consider what is in the letter and the suggestions by Dr. Meadows, and that if you have suggestions or comments, he would like to receive those before the end of August. I want to thank all of you for taking time out of your busy lives to attend on that retreat on Saturday. Unfortunately, due to the technology issues, we could not have the Open Meetings Act session, but it was done virtually on July 12th. And thank you all for your attendance at that session also. And you will find Claire's PowerPoint slides on page 59 through 66. And it's a very thorough presentation that we will probably need again as a reminder, no doubt. So moving on to the treasurer's, yes, Chairman.
It's okay.
Trustee Michener, I'm going to get
At
it
one point
together
in my
yet.
life, right?
Yeah. Yes.
May I respond to, okay. So thank you for being thorough. Thank you for thanking me and so many other people. I do want to respond in regards to your notes in regards to Juneteenth as well as a listening session. Okay. When it comes to the listening session, you know, I saw that note that there wasn't enough notice, and I think if we're going to build trust, we have to be honest. There's an integrity issue. It was in our Engage, which we had to put out early enough. We just celebrated Dana. She was one of the rock stars that made sure it got in Engage in enough time. 6 of our board members were there, and they all knew that this was going to happen as well. That was not a surprise date. I'm going to tell myself that it's not a slight to say that it was last minute towards me, but I think that everybody had ample notice. We even talked about it at the last board meeting. So those things definitely impact me, but not only me, our community. I wrote my note in your packet, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to do that. But what I will say is that a listening session is not meant to be half listening and then stopping abruptly and then not promising what we promised our community, and we promised them what we would listen to them and we would reflect back. And we called it reflection, not response, because we wanted to, I'm a therapist, right? So I like to reflect back what people say to me to make sure they feel heard. So it wasn't for us to say, no, we're great, really, we're awesome. No, you're wrong, we're great. The other thing is that I was dismayed by is that when I saw your note, President Crawford, you said that only items that were listed more than once were actually addressed. That pierced my heart, because there's people that don't, I'm a talker, there's people that aren't, right? There's people that had a lot of courage training to get up there and say whatever was on their heart, and they might have been the only one that cared about that thing, and they're not addressed in here at all because it wasn't brought up more than once. So I want us to just consider that. I think we can make this right, but I do feel like I'd be doing an injustice to myself, my conscience, and my community by not saying how disappointed I am. I also feel like we didn't get us, you know, no one agreed that this be canceled in our committee, except for our chair. So that definitely was a hardship for many of us. In addition to that, when it comes to Juneteenth, we said finance and policy, so I've been patiently waiting. You know, I always forge ahead and get my thoughts known as I am now. So I said I'd patiently wait to get my email about Juneteenth since I am on policy committee. But when you just reflected back, you just said finance only for Juneteenth because you made that tie-in your president's report. So that concerns me too, because again, we just want to be, we want to be heard, but we want to feel like people aren't trying to pull one over on us as a community, and it just feels like that. We said finance and policy, that was what everybody agreed to, not just finance, you know? So, you know, I hope that we can make this right. I mean, I can say a whole bunch of other stuff, but I don't want to take up too much time. It's 8:09, you got kids here and stuff, and like you said, your husband's in the hospital, and I'm definitely sorry about that. But I do want to acknowledge these important points. I think we have to do better. I think we have to do a lot better, and I'll mention some more when we get to the DEI part.
Okay.
Okay.
I did not put policy. I started to write policy, but I couldn't remember if it was the Finance and Policy Committee, so sorry. But, you know, that can be easily corrected. And easily, it certainly wasn't intentional.
Yeah, I just didn't get an invite, so that's what I'm saying to give my opinion. There was 319 people in attendance at that listening session too, and that's one of the biggest.
One of the concerns that I had is if all the board members were not able to attend the reflection session, then who would answer since everything was directed to the board, who would answer for the board?
Well, some things were directed to the board, but there was also some things that you all included that the committee had nothing to do with, like some of the articles, that wasn't ours, for example, or even the audit, that was April's. You know, so some of the things were ours as trustees, but some of them weren't. Just for
one of the reasons why I sent out a request to board members to add other topics, if they heard other topics at the listening session, to let me know, and I would add those in. And I only got a couple, so I didn't hear back from you that you would like to include
Oh, no, you heard
else.
back from me that I'm very disappointed with the way this went. I couldn't believe that this was switched around. So you did hear back from me right away. I also sent a couple emails that didn't get answered too, because I asked, was there actually a cancellation? I sent that to you and to Srini, and I didn't get a response at all. So I did send that, and I never got a response to this day. I wasn't gonna bring that up, but since you're saying I didn't say anything, I wanna make sure that you know I did.
Okay,
Okay?
all right.
Thank you.
I just want to mention again that the Open Meetings Act slides are in the PowerPoint slides are in the packet today, so you'll be able to look at those again. And we're moving on to the treasurer's report. Mr. Wood, Member Wood, Trustee Wood.
I go by them all, thank you. So the financial report for June 2021, the approved budget for Fund 268 for fiscal year 2020 through 2021 has total revenues of $3,190,825 against expenditures of $3,148,793. That's a net positive of $42,033. The approved budget for Fund 269 fiscal year 2020 through 2021 is total revenues of $48,860 against expenditures of $49,450 for a net loss of, excuse me, $8,590. The revenue and expenditure report for Fund 268 as of year-to-date, June 30th, 2021. This is the final month of the fiscal year. There's revenues of $3,216,604 against expenditures of $2,922,870. Usually takes a couple of months here for all the expenditures to come in to accurately reflect that. In Fund 269, the revenue and expenditure report for that is total revenues of $37,338 against expenditures of $13,802, with a net positive of $23,536. The balance sheet as of June 30th, 2021, the ending fund balance for Fund 268 is $2,575,231. The ending fund balance for Fund 269 is $1,730,515. Any questions or comments?
Anyone?
Thank you.
No, I guess you've dazzled everyone, so, with your report. Okay. Seeing no questions, then we will move on to the director's report.
I'm happy to entertain any questions on the report.
Anyone? Okay.
On page 78, I just want to point out 2 staff anniversaries, which are coming up in August. Elizabeth Kopko from our Support Services Department, she's one of my supervisors, 11 years with our library, and Danielle Mazer, one of our Information Services librarians, 1 year in August she'll be celebrating. And then I'd like to point you to page 101 very quickly. This is the statistics, and I want you to look at June, because I highlighted it in yellow so that you could see that total circulation just for the month of June of items checked out. This is just physical items from the building, not our digital. 102,956. This is the highest month we've ever had in history. And so even with still a couple restrictions with the building, and not quite over COVID yet, but I do believe we are getting there. I just wanted to point that out to you. I think this is huge to show that our library is being used and is very valuable, and this is a really big number for what's been happening over the year. So summer reading, obviously for June, has a big impact on this, and that means that people were excited to be reading and checking out again. So just wanted you to be aware of that number.
Okay, very good. Anyone have any questions for Director Farkas? No?
I thought it might be helpful to us as well as the audience at home. Just to recap, we mentioned the insurance, or the flood damage that we had the other day.
Yes, not
just-
flood damage, but
or,
it was from
rain
the
damage.
storms.
Storm
yes.
damage, yep.
Technology issues.
So just to recap where we are so far on that, or
So
what we know?
I did go ahead, we're looking at, based on invoices, a little over, well, it's over $100,000 in invoices for replacement of equipment that was completely fried in the system, in our server rooms. I went ahead and quickly have put in our insurance claim. You all know that we have a $10,000 deductible. I'm hoping that that's all we will spend, but until I hear from the actual insurance company, I won't know that. But what we also had to do as an emergency was to get moving quickly on purchasing the equipment, because we are in critical mode in the building. We are actually, moving things to make things work. We have a lot of services that aren't available yet because of the technology. Barb Rakowski, if I could just put her name out for a moment, has been working lots of hours and very diligently to move parts in our data closets in order for things to be functional. And obviously, the public is always first. Staff are working, but not at their full potential because of some of the things that have been impacted. But we talked with the city of Novi and the finance department, and we were able to very quickly expedite the purchase of equipment so that, one, we could get in on the cost, the pricing that was offered to us, because it was going to go up due to the chip shortage that's happening due to COVID. And so we went ahead and made those purchases. We didn't have to go out to bid. We were given that okay by the city based on it being an emergency need. And so we're hoping to move as fast as we can with getting new equipment in the building and then getting things back to normal. But we're hearing still that it'll be about a 45-day delay just in ordering the equipment, just because of what's going on with the impact of COVID over the last year. So we are moving quickly. The city was great to work with in terms of moving forward. And then as soon as I hear more from the insurance company, I will keep you all in the loop.
Okay.
And just one follow-up. So the damage, was that a failure of our roofing system, or?
No, it was from constant electricity going on and off in the building when the storms were occurring that they fried. On 624, it was our data closet on the first floor, and then on 7-7, which was the second storm, that impacted our second floor server room and a number of ports that were fried in the room. So, yes, about 45.5% of the ports in the building right now are not working. So and she has done a great job moving things around to keep us working and opening in just 2 days to allow the public to come back in the building and get things online.
How is the public handling
They
that?
don't know. They don't know.
That's good.
We did so much with making sure we could get back as much as we could. They really aren't feeling it. So, but it's all critical. It's like mission critical is the term that the IT world uses, because that's what she's done. She's heavily on mission critical with everything. And yes, it is taxing other units for now. Hopefully we will do well until we can get some of those brand new servers in and replaced. With our consultants, we were able to borrow a couple switches that we needed, which helped. But those will have to go back once we receive the equipment that will belong to us specifically when we can have it installed.
Any idea when that might arrive? Or
Well,
when
they're
it's
telling us
equipment?
45 days, and that's because of the shortage and things. The good thing is, based on the city working with them, it's emergency, so we need to purchase the equipment. I am under the understanding that if we would have waited till August to find some things and to piecemeal, which you can do, but those prices would have gone up also astronomically in terms of the equipment that we needed.
Wow. Anything
So
else?
I'll be happy to share. I literally got all the reports and put it into insurance. I believe it was yesterday, right? Did I send it? To Building and Grounds. That's the first group I let know that here's what was happening. But I'll be able to give everybody else all that information as well.
Anyone else? No?
I was just going to say really quick, kudos to Barb.
Yes.
Because I know she even came in on her day off for our OMA situation when we couldn't get the web.
Yep,
the
and that was from the
online
first
stuff
storm.
working. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, we've had a lot of storms. So I just wanted
Yes.
to say that. And I think it's also well noted when I said that's good. My point was that it's good that the public didn't notice in the sense that it still seems operational. Like it hasn't impacted their flow.
It hasn't.
That's a good thing. So
Yeah.
kudos
There's
to
a
Barb.
couple-
I see why she won her award.
Yep, and it is. I mean, she's been doing a lot this year, but yeah,
Yeah.
that was definitely another reason. She does put her time in and does work hard to make sure that the public doesn't see what's impacted. So thank
Okay,
you, I appreciate that.
Thank you. And it's time for our second public comment. In order to hear all citizen comments at the reasonable hour, the library board requests that speakers respect the 3-minute time limit. This is not a question-answer session. However, it is an opportunity to voice your thoughts with the library board. Remarks should be limited to those pertaining to matters before the board, to board business or policy, or to issues of community concern or interest. While comment upon the action, inaction, or performance of the board, the trustees, employees, and consultants is allowed, inappropriate, profane, vulgar, and abusive language and personal attacks will not be tolerated. Citizens must state their first, last name, and address. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sharon Trumpy. I live on Harvest Drive. The first thing I'd like to offer is a correction to the community listening session notes. I would like some corrections made specifically to my comments. So it states that I commended Jim Polk and said that libraries should be resources for the entire community and should involve a breadth of experience. I agree with that. I would like to point out that I did not agree with Jim Polk in terms of his definitions of diversity, equity, inclusion, or his comments about, I believe the quote was, dirty Muslims and Buddhists. So that is, I would like to clarify that I did not agree on that point. I would also like to correct, it states that I spoke of Carol Soborowski's comments to the library board and that she wants both sides of the LGBT issue addressed. It was left out that I specifically stated that I believe that straight people are well represented in the library and that I am specifically in favor of making sure that our LGBTQ plus community also feels safe and represented. With that said, I noticed in the response from the listening session, which I'll mention we only had access to when we arrived, so it makes it very hard to actually have a conversation or respond. But there's a quote from Trustee Crawford: "Without honest conversations, which work both ways, trust and understanding cannot be accomplished." And I think that's exactly the issue that I'm struggling with here, that we have been trying to have this conversation for quite some time now. And the very last minute cancellation of the listening session response, and then especially hearing the reasons, just furthers my feelings of distrust. So if the reason is that board members were not aware of the date far enough in advance to arrange their schedules, it's unclear to me why the listening session was held in June. The response was supposed to be about a month later, and I found out the day before, because I also have a schedule that I arrange so I can attend these events. And it would have been appreciated if, when the board realized that they were not going to hold this session, or I should say when Chairman Chiricuri and President Crawford decided not to hold the response session, that should have been communicated quickly to the public. I would also like to mention that communication also involves emails. I sent an email, I believe it was the day after last month's board meeting, in regards to research on fine-free libraries. And I received no response until an hour and 15 minutes before the start of this meeting, which was from Mr. Chiricuri, which I find interesting since the fine-free library discussion, as I had been told, was not referred to the DEI committee. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Audra Holdorf. I live in Novi, Michigan. Do you need my address?
I'm sorry, we can't hear you very well.
My name is Audra. I'll talk in my teacher voice. My name is Audra Holdorf. I live in Novi, Michigan, off Emerald Forest Drive. I want to start out with this quote here: "White people are the experts on racism because we created it." I wanted to share my opinions on the fact that the canceling of the response meeting was canceled last minute with very short notice without any communication via Facebook, social media, or email, as I also had signed up for the response session. I am disappointed that it was communicated that Trustee Chiricuri canceled the response session without the consultation of the other trustees on the DEI committee. I'm greatly concerned that Trustee Chiricuri, as the head of the DEI committee, uses power to cancel the session, clearly showing he does not have the interest of the residents in mind whom this affects. This date was not a surprise date, as we all do have schedules, but does seem to be another moving of the target that actually does not address the issues that were brought up by over 300 people and residents of the community. As you see, there are only 3 of us here today. And I had my kids, but my husband came to get them. Thank goodness. They were the ones who were playing video games. Anyway, I am still waiting to see all of the items to be addressed in the document, as Trustee Missioner just stated, as dismissing items that were only written once is making the community's thoughts not important. I ask that Trustee Chiricuri and all the board members truly reflect as if they are committed to this work, or is it just another place on your resume? The responses to the question session being minimal were also a lot of smoke and mirrors, without any action that was outlined by the DEI committee to answer any questions to the listening session. One response I wanted to point out was from Trustee Crawford, questioning what safety was for a Black woman and assuming that it was a building safety issue when the person who spoke at the session was explicit in her concerns. I am also even more disappointed that the chair of the committee did not even comment on any of the concerns. As a leader of a school and as the leader of the DEI committee, your responsibility is to lead your group to growth. Without hearing your true reflections and thoughts on the listening session, I can fairly assume that you are not for anti-racism work and you do not value the concerns of the community, as you have referenced in your social media posts. A New York Minute, a Cotton Pickin' Minute. Second, when speaking with the paid holiday Juneteenth, again, the board is continuing to move the target when Trustee Mishner brings up the responses and the lack of response, and now saying it was due to the power outage of the flood. I urge you as the board to continue to stop, I urge you the board to stop making excuses and pay your employees for this day, as I am worried that you will all be recalled. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, it's good to be back in person, but my name's Carol Sobrowski and I live on East Lake Drive in Novi. I have 3 separate comments. So one, I would like to just share my thoughts on the fine-free library structure. I understand it's not much of our revenue, but in my opinion, the fine is more of a check on human behavior. So it's like an accountability to bring your book back, even if it's 10 cents. And I understand that some of the reason for not having a fine was access to transportation, access to internet services, and perhaps those are the people who have less finances to pay the fine. But I still believe that fines are good for us to have that check. So people have a heads up, they can renew their books. And the flip side of that is if someone's waiting for their book, like if someone's has their book on, when you're waiting for the book that's on hold, if someone doesn't turn that book in, then someone else is out. So that doesn't seem right to me. But again, I see the fine as more of a check on human behavior, because the human heart is deceitful. So if no one puts a check on it, then who's to say if these books will ever get turned in? That's my opinion on that. Number 2, I had a comment on that phrase, not feeling safe also. I just wanted to say, I personally would love to hear more about what that means to someone. So, and I'll put this in an email to the DEI committee, but I am curious what other people's situations are where they don't feel safe. Because when I think of it, I think of, I could be in the safest place in the world. And if I don't feel safe, whose responsibility is that? So for me, it's a question of where does someone else's responsibility begin and end, and where does mine begin and end? So I'm curious about that conversation on that issue of feeling safe. And lastly, I would just like to take this time to comment and say that I also have called and emailed more than once since March and April with questions for the DEI committee, and I also have not received responses. So I do know that there was a change in the chairperson, but it's been about 4 months, and I really would like responses. So that's what I had to say. Thank you so much.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Committee reports. I want to thank everyone for submitting your meeting notes, and if there are any committee reports that further explain your discussion at committees, now would be the time. So anybody wish to say anything? Any chairman? Yes, Chairman Cherukuri. Pardon?
I mean, on the last committee, do we have to go in sequence or?
No, no, you're fine.
So, yeah, I just wanted to catch everyone up on, there's a little confusion on the listening or reflection session. The listening session, how it led to the reflection session and its cancellation. So, and again, I'm relatively new to this organization, getting my feet wet, had just one committee meeting under my belt. But the library, as the public sees it, has kind of two kinds of events. Those that are set up by the staff, and our staff has autonomy to run those things, and then the board itself organizes events of its own. The listening and reflection session that were originally held last fall were staff events. And so the staff set those up. And of course, board members try to attend staff events as much as our schedules allow. And most of the comments received in the fall were towards things the staff could respond to. And so it was a very effective session. We learned a lot from the community. I think, as you can see, it guided a lot of our actions this past year. And we're growing as a library, which is something we aim to always do. Fast forward to the spring here, when the latest listening session and reflection session were put together. And again, as I mentioned, events are either staff events or they're board events. There was some confusion in this case, but this was a staff event that was encouraged by the then chair of the DEI committee. And so we held the listening session. The result that came from there is this time most of the comments were towards board actions, or board opinions, or where their board stood on certain issues. So after the meeting, when we sat with Director Farkas and she reviewed what the staff comments were, they didn't feel there was anything that they could comment on. And I asked, and so when we said there wasn't time for the board, again, I as a committee member, or none of us can speak for the board as a whole, the board in fact speaks through its motions, actions, and things we do here at our board meetings. So therefore, we collected those comments, and we're still in the process of moving those through the entire board. But President Crawford has shared the comments thus far. So that's the reason that meeting was canceled. I know some of the members of the community are disappointed, but the OMA has certain restrictions on how we communicate as a board, how we reflect out to people, and we're doing our best to do it in that fashion. Just wanted to make that clarification.
Any other committee reports? Oh, yes.
Yeah, just piggybacking on our actual meeting that we did have a meeting on the 15th of July with DEI. And, you know, again, honesty is super important. And I'm hearing so much it's not true tonight. And it's making me struggle. Just because, you know, after that session, the debrief, we did talk about the comments that were had. And the staff did have thoughts that pertain to them. But you know, our chair left early. So there's just some things that aren't always communicated correctly. And it just makes me feel like, I hope in switching things over, and I worked very hard to be very above board and responding to everybody's comments that emailed me, and I have documents of those if need be. I keep all my stuff together just because people sometimes lie. It's really important, I think, for us to have integrity with our community, right? It's important if we say we're gonna do something that we do it. And I can't help but feel like the comment that was made about cotton picking, that is extremely, not okay. I don't know how much you all know about that, but you could probably guess that that's not okay. So I'm sitting up here floored that might be something that someone in charge of DEI would say as a Black woman. So I'm dealing with that right now, so you're catching me a little raw emotionally with that, I'll be honest. But in addition to that, I'm just hoping that I'm not being used as a tokenization point, because when we changed over chairs, there has been not one meeting where the committee has been heard or their things have actually been sent through. One person, like people have literally written letters, and you've received those letters, President Crawford, about our concerns. Our chair won't say what he feels about DEI. These are issues. Everybody doesn't have to feel the same about everything, but if you're leading a committee, we want to at least know your thoughts and know what DEI means to you. And that was, that's really important when you're representing people who actually value DEI and who need it as survival and safety, feeling like no one's going to be mean to me, no one's going to emotionally hurt me, no one's going to lash out at me. And there's more things to that too. Just look at the news. There's a lot of bad things happening in the name of racism. So I think when we talk about safety, hopefully we understand what we're talking about. I'm just hoping that with this committee, we move forward in a positive way. I did mention at the meeting that I felt like DEI is going down the tubes with what we're not doing. Director Farkas said she disagrees, and that's her right. But as a Black woman who actually works in the field and who has a multicultural family, I see a big need for us to grow and change. And as an educator for Library of Michigan, so I'm not just, someone who doesn't know what I'm talking about. I think it's really important, and I'm just very concerned. I'm very, very concerned that there's other agendas potentially going on. So,
Trustee Wood?
Excuse me. So there's two things I wanted to talk about. Policy committee, we didn't get to meet, so fellow policy members, I did give dates to Director Farkas, so hopefully we'll meet in the next couple weeks or so. So look for that if you haven't seen that. The bylaw committee, we did meet, so unfortunately my thunder's been stolen.
I'm sorry.
sorry.
Sorry. I
No,
wasn't trying to do
that was a great intro, so.
Sorry.
But I just wanted to say, we had a great discussion with
did.
Trustee Mishner,
Thank you.
Trustee Bartlett. You know, there were a lot of changes done in a lot of red ink on the bylaws. And we started looking at it, you know, none of us were on that bylaw committee before this. And so, you know, we really didn't even know how to start, but then we decided, you know what, let's give it a fresh set of eyes. And of course, that's when, thank you, Tom, for finding out that we're not a committee on top of it. I tried to excuse us and, you know, get our time back, but we continue talking about it. And we'll talk more during the action for board meetings. But I just want to say, I thought it was a really good discussion. I look forward to the policy committee and having the same type of really good discussion. So.
Okay, any other committee reports?
Just a note on the finance committee, we were able to lasso Carl Johnson with the city. He's basically the CFO for the city of Novi. We had a very good discussion regarding what the library's options are, especially with some of the opportunities that we have available for donations, whether we that we could, as a library, choose to be a 501c3 rather than just use, because currently, for most of our 501c3 activities, we use the Friends of the Library. So, but, you know, we discussed the various, you know, ifs, ands, or buts about that, but it does not preclude us. The bottom line is it does not preclude us from taking a donation. In this case, we have a potential $100,000 donation out there that, you know, and then taking a donation and earmarking it for something. Say, okay, it's $100,000, but this is earmarked for children's literature, or this is earmarked for a different section of the library. So it was a very good discussion with him. We hope to meet with him again before we, you know, have to make a decision one way or the other.
Okay. All right, moving on. Matters for library board action. I believe we're going to entertain a motion. Is that correct? And who's going to make it? Yes.
I move that we declare the bylaw committee an ad hoc committee so that the bylaw committee can complete its updating of the bylaws and make the decision whether it will continue to be an ad hoc committee or become a regular standing committee.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Now, discussion. Anyone wish to say anything in regard to this?
Just I agree.
Yeah, just a point of clarification. Be good to explain the difference between bylaws and policies for the folks who are watching at home.
I'll jump into that. I mean, bylaws is a set of rules of how we act as a board and how we're organized as a board. And policies are very specific to more of the operation of the library itself, you know, so you have your HR policy, et cetera, et cetera. So that's really kind of the distinct difference there.
Okay. You're good? Okay. All right, then. Then I'll ask Secretary Bartlett to call the roll.
Trustee Crawford?
Yes.
Trustee Mitchner?
Yes.
Trustee Wood?
Yes.
Trustee Yu?
Yes.
Trustee Bartlett votes yes. Trustee Chair Curry?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
All right, then. And moving along, I don't believe there's any further business. We don't have a closed session. There's no further business to come before the board. And seeing none, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Yes?
I have one comment, and I wanted to open it up to my fellow trustees. I'm not going to be here at the September meeting, and I reached out to trustee Yu, who is the former secretary, to take over the duties. He indicated he may not be here for the September meeting. So I guess I would ask that my fellow trustees look at their schedules, because we could be in very tight issues for a quorum.
Member Yu, can you clarify your schedule?
Yep, so the September meeting, I'm not sure yet, just because it's back to school time and we don't have a final calendar involved late schools yet. So as soon as we get that, we have some back to school events scheduled, tentatively scheduled for that day. So once that's confirmed, I can let you guys know on that.
Okay, so we can't really do anything.
My duties are not an issue, because I have already reached out to trustee Dooley, who would be the acting secretary as vice president.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming forward with that important information about your absence. All right, you want to call the roll then?
Motion
sorry.
to adjourn, if that's okay.
Yeah. Motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. You may call the roll now.
Trustee Mitchner?
Yes.
Trustee Wood?
Yes.
Trustee Yu?
Yes.
Trustee Bartlett votes yes. Trustee Cherukuri?
Yes.
Trustee Crawford?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.